like the mass killing of Palestinians by the Israeli government in Rafah has begun. Uh, in this instance, over 100 Palestinians were killed in an Israeli airstrike. There was a bunch killed in a hospital, 13 killed in one airstrike. A residential building got attacked and like 34 people were killed. It's before this is all over, there's gonna be hundreds of thousands of people killed.
Israeli airstrikes on Gaza's southern city of Rafah and surrounding areas killed more than 100 people, including children, overnight Monday. The Israel Defense Forces are proceeding with their aim to win the war, despite the international community criticizing them for costing too many lives in the process. Lee Eun-jin starts us off.
The Israel Defense Forces attacked Gaza's southern city of Rafah and surrounding areas overnight Monday, with jets targeting different areas of the city and helicopters firing machine guns along border areas. More than 100 people, including children, were killed in what CNN called extremely intense Israeli airstrikes. According to a Palestinian media source, Israel conducted about 40 airstrikes on the Rafah region in the early hours of the morning in an area where 1.4 million Gazans have taken refuge since the conflict began. The White House.
And this was supposed to be an area where it's supposed to be a safe place told to Palestinians by the Israeli government. But this was their plan all along. Get everybody into uh, Rafah, or the most southern city, a place where they can escape and just bomb as many people as possible. Like, I mean, where are the Palestinians supposed to flee to since everywhere else has been bombed?
Reported that in a call with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday, President Joe Biden pushed back on the planned military operation in Rafah, telling the Israeli leader that Israel should not proceed without a credible and executive plan to protect the Palestinian civilians sheltering there. However, Netanyahu.
Uh, Biden obviously knows that the Israeli government and Bibi Netanyahu doesn't care about the Palestinian people. So why would uh, how would Biden be able to convince Bibi to enact some plan to keep the Palestinian civilians safe? He's trying to genocide them.
Netanyahu brushed off international warnings and criticism, saying that telling Israel not to enter Rafah was like telling the country to lose the war. The Israel Defense Force proceeded with the airstrikes despite a firestorm of criticism, with Human Rights Watch saying the forced displacement of Palestinians in Rafah would have catastrophic consequences, while the United Nations said it was extremely worried about the fate of civilians in Rafah who need to be protected. Following his.
Okay, well, UN, you should send in some troops. Don't care what the United States says, since they're helping the Israeli government commit a genocide. Have some nations send troops into Gaza and the West Bank and protect the Palestinians from the IDF.
His meeting in Washington with Jordan's King Abdullah on Monday, the U.S. president said the United States is pushing for a 6-week pause in the fighting between Israel and Hamas in Gaza as a stepping stone towards a longer ceasefire.
As the King and I discussed today, the United States is working on a hostage deal between Israel and Hamas, which would bring an immediate and sustained period of calm to Gaza for at least 6 weeks, which we could then take the time to build something more enduring.
Meanwhile, Hamas said Monday that 3 Israeli hostages died from wounds sustained during the intense Israeli attacks over the weekend. According to the.
Wow. So the Israeli government bombing Gaza has caused 3 Israeli hostages to die. So far, 5 hostages have been killed by the Israeli government. Uh, is that no surprise that bombing places where hostages could cause them to die?
Israel Defense Forces, 2 Israeli hostages were rescued Monday, having both spent 128 days in captivity. They are said to be in relatively good condition and have been reunited with their families. Israel
It's good that 2 hostages were saved, but the IDF killed 3 hostages to save 2 of them. That's not good math. And they've killed hundreds of Palestinians to save a few hostages. That's pretty atrocious.
says there are still